Success in farming is all about precision and efficiency, ensuring every seed, every drop of water, every nutrient and treatment counts. Terraplex Ag is helping farmers all over Iowa and the Midwest do just that. With precision ag drone technology and support from Terraplex, you'll boost your productivity and make timely and informed decisions, all while reducing your costs and increasing your profit. It's time to revolutionize your farming. Harvest the benefits with Terraplex Ag. Visit TerraplexAg.com.
My name is Joseph Hurst. I live in Ankeny, Iowa, and I'm a part of the PMBA program. I currently work as the Director of Sales at Stony Creek Hotels in Johnston, Iowa, and I chose the Iowa State MBA program because it just made perfect sense. About 2 years ago, I started this wonderful program, and I couldn't imagine not having done it. What has helped the most balance work, life, school, has been the people I'm in class with. It's great to go through questions, problems, study for tests, and it just makes the whole class so much easier. As a working professional thinking about doing an MBA program, I get night classes aren't everybody's dream. I get after a long day of work, you may not want to go do more, but it's worth it. You're going to learn a lot, not just from the professors in the program, but from the other students. They come from all walks of life. They are from different age groups. They're from different companies. They're from all kinds of different backgrounds. They've got all kinds of different stories. And after 2 years, I've made some of the best friends I've ever made, learned the most I've ever learned, and I can't imagine what we're going to do after we're done.
I'm Chris Williams from Cyclone Fanatic and a proud Iowa State graduate from the class of 2007. No one shows up like Iowa State fans.
And Cyclones support Cyclones on and off the field.
Your gift can provide scholarships to students, fund groundbreaking research. We could even drum up opportunities for the marching band. Visit MoveWhatMatters.com to learn how you can make an impact today.
Chris Williams, Brent Blum, from the Wild Rose Casino Studio. It's Williams and Blum, presented by Mechdyne, on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.
What is up? Welcome to a cold, blustery Wednesday show, and that's exactly how my emotions feel after spending last night in Hilton Coliseum. My name is Chris Williams, joined as always by Brent Blum, here on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network. We are presented by our friends at Mechdyne. Thank you to Chris Clover and his team for always being a great supporter of what we are doing here at Cyclone Fanatic. I did not, but I am gonna pull out a bottle of Cody Road bourbon tonight. I really, we'll break it all down. We got so much to get into from last night's game. I will say this, Brent, and I know everybody's going to have different opinions here. All of our great viewers on YouTube and listeners. There were a couple guys on Twitter last night bitching about how they didn't want to listen to us today, but they would because they've been listening since 2003 or whatever. Thanks, you dicks. You know, I could see everything bad you were saying about me. I'm kidding.
The sun did not come out today.
No, it didn't. In my opinion, the Arizona game and last night, two of the most painful Cyclone losses of my life. I know that sounds like latest and greatest, hyperbolic, and maybe I'll feel differently in 2 years.
I hope not.
Freaking brutal.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. What a roller coaster of a conference season. I mean, my gosh, this is exhausting.
Well,
we got break it all down. We got one more with Tang on Saturday.
Listen, we nailed the BYU thing. I hope people made money on BYU at +9 because that was a ridiculous point spread. But it's what the metrics showed you going into that one, and whatever. BYU, I just never seen anything like it. First of all, thank you, Blum and his beautiful wife Crystal watched my daughters. So my wife's out of town at a work thing, and it's an 8:00 tip, and we have this blizzard coming. Oh yeah, let's just go to double overtime. So I picked my daughters up at Bloom's like after midnight last night. So thank you for that.
I the great thing is your 5-year-old was up. She was like,
she was pissed. She didn't go to bed till like 2. She was pissed about the Cyclones.
She was just pissed like the rest of us.
No, actually, I was like, did you fall asleep, Elise? She's like, no. I was hanging out with Brent. I'm like, okay.
We were breaking down the double overtime.
I'm sure he was in a great mood.
I you know what? It was one of those.
I was pissed,
games.
with
It's
10
just-
minutes to go. I was not pissed at the end of the game, though. I just, like, it was like, God, like, I don't even know. Like, there were a lot to break down.
So much happened in that game.
If you haven't watched Otzelberger's press conference, I thought it was one of his best.
What was the takeaway from TJ?
We, paraphrasing what he said, we can't learn this lesson again. Talking about the 15-minute stretch where they were just horrible. We're too old of a team to be going through this one time after another. Yeah. We should never have to do this again.
Yep. Agreed on all counts.
He was so on it. Like, if you don't want coach speak, don't go to, like, that was your press conference with Otz. Like, it was, I thought it was fantastic. The rebound differential and the turnover differential, one of the craziest box scores you'll ever see.
And that, and it goes hand in hand a little bit here. Literally, how many more shots did only took 5 more shots. That is the fact that BYU had 59 shot attempts and 29 turnovers is astronaut. That is
you know what's the other stat that blew my mind after the game? Look at their offensive rebounds and second chance points.
Well, let's look. 9 second chance points on how many offensive rebounds did they
17.
end up with? Oh my gosh. That's where the game
Isn't that crazy?
That's a lot. That's where the game was lost for Iowa State. Was on.
But I would have thought they would have had more second chance.
No,
points.
you're right. You're right. But it was deflating, and it's true. I think so. How did that happen? Right. I think what happened, and maybe we didn't realize it. So Deshaun Jackson was a little bit under the weather. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know that he was. And that's why he didn't start, according to TV.
Yep. And Chatfield got 4 fouls early. So Iowa State played super small for majority of that game, and it was Jefferson at the 5. Well, that is the one area you're not as good a rebounding team then. I thought BYU. I thought the MVP of that game. Obviously Saunders was really good, Demon was really good, but their big guy Keita,
he was awesome.
He was just everywhere.
Yeah,
I mean, he doesn't even start for them, but he impacted the game in so many different areas, and I thought Iowa State would be able to play a little bully ball inside, and Keita made that really difficult. So I thought he was the most surprising player in that game, and yeah, Iowa State had a awful stretch offensively from the 10-minute mark of the first half to the 15-minute mark of the second half, and then it fed into a bad defense again. And I think that's the frustrating part with where TJ's coming from, is we are too old. We've been through too many of these games to let our bad offense dictate bad defense. And Iowa State lost the game because it got super lazy there in that stretch in the first half on defense. We're getting back on defense, allowing open shots, and it's extra frustrating as a fan because what Iowa State did in that really methodical effort to take that 21-point lead and take the lead at one point, that's who this team can be, though.
It was all defense.
Yeah, it was all defense.
And transition offense.
It's like, do that. Why can't you do that? And I think that was the frustrating part, and kudos to BYU in those overtimes, man. They had some shots. They guarded. I think I was most impressed by their toughness to go into Hilton and do that after blowing that lead, and then to come back and still hold on. Sometimes you tip your cap. Iowa State, again, did not make winning plays. Not at all. But BYU did, and they earned it 100%.
Got to talk about Iowa State's half-court offense at the end of that game. After out of timeouts, just
not going to do it.
Turning the ball over, indecisive. And that I kept having 2 nagging feelings through that game. One was in the first half. First of all, Hilton was electric. That was one of the best Hiltons in years. If they win that game, it may be the best in 10 years.
That was trending towards, honestly, it reminded me a lot of that Oklahoma game
Yes.
What was that? The Buddy Hield Niang era.
That was Niang's senior day.
Where
right?
was it? I think it was his senior day.
Yeah,
where Iowa
it was
State
senior
came
day
back
for
from
Niang.
$1 billion down. Similar. Yeah.
But even like pregame, 8:00 tip, no school tomorrow. It was electric.
The weather was chaotic.
And I felt like, so Iowa State gets off to a good start.
Yeah.
Right? They're up like 7, and everybody's really relaxed. And I kept looking, and it's like, Jesus, they have 9 turnovers, and Iowa State's only up by 5.
Yep.
Like, this isn't great.
Yep.
And I kept thinking, I tweeted this, I think 2 or 3 times in the first half. Like, they got to do something. They got to put their foot on the gas at some point, because you don't want to go to halftime with a 12-3 turnover advantage and only be up 1. They were down 9 at that point, and I was like, this is not good. And then at the end, I just kept thinking, like, the only way they're going to win this game is turning BYU over and scoring in transition, because Iowa State couldn't do anything in a half court in that second half. And they got back into that game in transition, and unfortunately, BYU too, I'll give Kevin Young credit. They identified Saunders, what was he, like 14 of 14 at the free throw line?
Yeah.
Towards the end, they just started isolating him, and they were making the refs call these fouls. And maybe the Taman one was right in front of me. It was all ball, but I could see why in the live it got called. It looked like a foul. But I don't know. Like, God, I could talk about this game for 2 hours with you. What do you think about all that? That was where my scattered brain went.
For sure. So on the half court offense. So let's start there. I think Iowa State's in an interesting situation right now. In that early in the year, the half court offense really ran through Keyshawn. Like it really did. Like it was just go watch the Marquette game. When things broke down, it was all right. Get the ball to Keyshawn. Let him go to work. Let him get to the rim. For whatever reason, his injury status, other players stepping up. Now the question is, if Iowa State needs a basket, who gets the ball? And I think it's a fascinating question. And I think Iowa State got caught late in that game and in overtime. It's like, who do we draw up plays for, right?
I'm going to 22.
I think so, and I think Iowa State did. If you look at the end of that regular, absolutely.
And Jackson, Jackson scored a lot. And God, if he just finishes the one at the end of the regulation,
Jefferson,
you win.
Yeah. But so here's the thing, though. When you have a player like Milan, who isn't really a put the ball on the floor guy, your best offense in those late game situations is to attack it. And I thought Iowa State had the right idea by getting it to Joshua there in those situations. But it didn't work. He missed the one. Now, he did get fouled a couple times. Like, I think if you go back and watch, Iowa State was definitely trying to run its offense through Jefferson late in that game. And that play right there, where he fumbled the ball, I think that was your chance. That was your chance. And the play was a little slow developing, but they had the matchup they wanted, which was Jefferson on Saunders, and he fumbled the ball. And then in the overtime, that play right there, the rebound tip dunk by Keita. And
Thanks
Iowa
to
State,
Jake Bryn for these highlights.
These are great highlights, by the way. It's like we queued it up on time. Nice job, Aiden. And then the last possession was indicative, I think, of Iowa State right now. Is who do you want with the ball late when you need a basket? And I agree. I think Momcilovic is the most skilled player. Gilbert can get to the rim. I don't think Gilbert just has that edge right now for whatever reason, and Iowa State desperately needs that back because you need that killer in a late game situation. And he looked to defer in that moment, and it cost Iowa State. And so you can say, hey, we're not drawing up good stuff, and to a point I agree, but in end-of-game situations, it comes down to somebody going to the rim and making a play.
And execution.
And
Saunders did every time.
They ISO'd him, and they made him. They found the matchup, and he went to work. My question is for Iowa State: who do you want with the ball to create that matchup right now?
I used to want Keyshawn.
I think so, right? But I don't know now, and I think that is what is bogging down Iowa State in the half court right now.
If Jefferson's got a good matchup, I want him. He's pretty turnover prone right now, so it makes me nervous.
Exactly.
Taman is the player on the floor who I trust the most.
He's 6'1", like you don't want him,
right?
And then Curtis is. It could be him, but it's also like
it's Curtis or Milan are the two that I would. that I would circle. I don't know.
Yeah,
Jefferson's made a lot of big shots down the stretch.
He has, and then Keyshawn can still get to the rim. I mean, it's just an interesting thing. It's like, Iowa State is so balanced, it almost hurt them in that overtime situation. It's like, where do you get the ball to? And I think Iowa State really kind of got bogged down in its own mind in those situations.
It was an incredible basketball game all the way around. I want to thank a couple of our great sponsors. First and foremost, though, the guy who founded Cyclone Fanatic back in the day, our friend Jeremy Lind, has just told everybody he's come down with Parkinson's disease, which is a terrible deal, and his family's going through a rough time, and they've started a GoFundMe page. I did tweet it out from Cyclone Fanatic a couple days ago. Cyclone Fanatic Jeremy started, I think 2005 was the year. And then our group came in and took it over in 2009. But that's a really bad disease, and anybody who's gone through it or knows people who have. So I would like to encourage everybody, if you can give a few bucks, go and help that family as they're going through a tough time right now. Again, that is, if you need that link, it is on the Cyclone Fanatic Twitter page. You just got to go back a couple of days ago, and you'll be able to find it on there.
Thinking about you, Jeremy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good man.
Also, want to thank our friends at Gravitate Co-working. Check them out at gravitatecoworking.com. I'm guessing there's not a lot of people co-working today. It is how windy. How many Dan McCarney press conferences is it today?
This would be the Dan McCarney Insight.com Bowl press conference, windy.
Oh.
Victory. Maybe pep rally.
Pretty windy right there.
It's really windy. Really windy.
And thank God, on that note, it hadn't gotten too bad last night.
Gosh.
If that game goes to a third overtime, we're going to have a lot of wrecks on 35.
I hope everybody made it home safely. I know people. I mean, people travel a long way. By the way, I know we only had to come down to Bondurant. There are people who go to all ends of the state at a Tuesday night.
Yeah, talk about the worst game ever to go into double overtime for all sort. And I also hopewoodjd.com. You could have a heart attack. You could have gotten a wreck on the way home, unfortunately. You need to have your will done. She can do it for you in a day. hopewoodjd.com. That's a perfect segue for that. Where was I going with that? I had
now to Kansas, like.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Quick turnaround.
I didn't want this team going into double overtime. Those teams were gassed, by the way.
Oh,
like
exhausted.
30 for BYU was just dead at the end of that game. He played his balls off. And then now you got to go to Kansas State, and now you got to play on Wednesday. And it's just like, okay, so glass half empty, that sucks. Glass half full, maybe this team needs more reps. I don't know. But I do not like the way this sets up.
No, to go from second ranked and a 1 seed to playing on Wednesday at 11:30 is quite a change. And as TJ said, like, there are no more wake up calls. This is it. You just don't have any more opportunity to learn from these things.
Yeah, last night's not a wake up call. Last night you got beat by a good team that deserved to beat you, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was a team that beat Iowa State, and I think BYU's a really good team. They're not the best team in the country though, and I think the concern here is you did something. I thought Iowa State again took care of the ball better, right? So that's encouraging.
Only 9 turnovers with 2 extra periods,
which is great. But you can't go through lapses where this team has to be good every game the rest of the way. I don't care about half-court I mean, I do. Okay, follow me here. I care about half-court execution. But if you're not going to be tough, rebound the ball, and be physical on defense, and be who you are, then none of that other stuff matters. Like you got to start back at the basics. And I think that's what's most frustrating right now is saying, "Hey guys, we know what works here. We have seen it. We have done it this year. We did it for multiple stretches over the last week." The stretch against Arizona in the first half was brilliant. The stretch against BYU that comeback was Iowa State played a high-end basketball game. BYU didn't struggle. Iowa State turned them over, like really ramped it up. You can do it. You have it in you. So what is with these 20-minute lapses at times? Why is that happening? And, maybe to that glass half full, maybe get some more reps. But I also realize that more reps also can lead to, more fatigue, more of everything that comes with that. So, but you dug your hole. Now you dig yourself out of it. And, playing Wednesday at 11:30 against what could be, Aiden, if you can pull up that bracket for me.
It's probably going to be BYU.
Well, you got to win a game first, though, right? Like, I think that's the.
Oh, okay. But I'm saying if you win, that Wednesday game may be tough.
Well, I think what is it, K-State or UCF?
Yeah,
is that the matchup?
Sign me up for UCF.
Obviously the games on Saturday will dictate who exactly that's going to be. But no doubt. Then Iowa State will have a rematch with BYU on Thursday in Kansas City, and Iowa State will be favored in that game. It will,
which they shouldn't be.
So I just think it's going to be interesting. Now.
I'm just the way these things work, though. We've gotten so many more tools over the years. Like BYU, in the last 4 weeks, is a top 5 team in the country.
Yes, and I know. I totally agree. I think it's going to be really interesting of how they are categorized going into March a little bit too. Iowa State going to play Wednesday and. Hopefully you string a couple together. So here's the bracket. If you could zoom in a little bit on that for me.
I cannot zoom in on it.
It's not. You
Hold
can't.
on.
All right.
Give me 2 seconds.
All right. So Iowa State will play that winner of that game from Tuesday. Again Wednesday at 11:30, and then you hope you run into a couple. There's no doubt you will be a 5 seed, which means even if you were to beat BYU on that Friday, you will then play the 1 seed, which will be Houston. And so we know how good they are. So so 2 things here. Yes, you don't like playing in this game, but also you're going to have time to play really good teams and figure it out. Like those would be 2 really good quad 1 wins to make yourself feel better. So that's Do
you agree with me? I was crunching this last night. It just feels like 80% chance Iowa State's a 3 seed now in the NCAA tournament.
I agree. Yeah, the 2 seed is
even if you would lose to Kansas State, I
don't think they can get all the way down to a 4. I really don't. I think they're pretty much locked into a 3.
You just have to look at the difference between the 3 and the 4s as far as the metrics go. I just think I had people overreacting and tweeting last night, oh, we're going to be a 5 seed now. Losing this 5-12. No. I don't even think it's possible. Unless you would...
You lose to K. You lose to K. Okay, here's how it's possible. If you lose to K-State and you lose it to that 12-13 team in the first round, then you probably are a 4.
You're a 4, but I don't think you can drop to 5.
I don't think you can go all the way to 5. No,
there's really no way you're going to drop 3 seed lines in a week.
I agree there.
It is an overall body of work. So
and interestingly, before the game. Evan Maya, which is MIYA, you can do these tournament projections, and he projected Iowa State as a 3 seed. Hey, see if you can pull up my tweet where it says Iowa State's running the table in the NCAA tournament from last afternoon. Anyway, it showed Iowa State's potential path on its way to a Final Four as a 3 seed, and it was beat Towson, beat Mississippi State, beat I think it was. Texas Tech in there, and it's all these things are very doable. I mean, I think that's the thing here is even as a 3 seed, the path isn't that much different. Here we go. Oh, thank you. So this is if you go look at Iowa State, he has Iowa State winning the national championship in this projection. Again, this is all a data strategy. Iowa State would beat Towson and then beat Mississippi State, then beat Kansas, who he has upsetting Michigan State. And anyway, so it's just kind of fun how even as a 2 or a 3 seed, your path is going to be about the same. Dropping to that 4 or 5 is which becomes problematic.
Yeah,
because
you don't want to drop to that line.
Then you're playing a 1 seed in the Sweet 16. Exactly.
Game Day Men's Health. We had a text from a buddy of ours last night. He was going to Game Day Men's Health, and he said, I'm really glad I'm on the tee right now. It got me through that game. God bless you. I feel the exact same way, my brother. Game Day Men's Health locations in Ankeny, West Des Moines, North Liberty, and be about a year for me in April. since I started going to game day Men's Health.
Looking svelte.
I'm just ready to.
Kansas
I will
City's
say this:
not ready for Chris Williams on the tee.
I like BYU and their fans, and a really cool moment last night after that game. I was expecting, and all I see really are the angry people on the internet, but like the Iowa State crowd for the most part, like stood up and applauded both teams as they walked off the floor. The students were really doing it for Iowa State, and I saw, probably a couple hundred people standing up and applauding BYU as it walked to the exit, and it did, as I said, that was an incredibly painful game because I just I love Conrad Hawley so much, and there's a lot. You're closer to all these guys than I am. I'm not that close to any of them, but other than Conrad's kind of my guy.
Yeah, he is.
But I wanted them to get that when they came back, just for the moment. That would be like a book chapter, that type of game.
Yes. The story would have been great.
Yeah, I wanted it really bad for all those people and everything, but. You do have to, that was a freaking great basketball game. It may not have been the prettiest played, a lot of missed shots, turnovers, all that stuff, but you talk about two teams just completely gutted it out.
Yeah,
left everything out there. That was a great game.
From the 15-minute mark on, Iowa State laid it all out there, and that was high end. You're right, not the most skilled basketball at times, but gosh, those guys were really playing hard. And I think to your earlier point, that's what made that loss extra painful, similar to the Arizona game, is because in both those games, the one in Iowa State lost in Tucson, Iowa State played well enough to win at times. Iowa State did. We can say, yes, Iowa State sucked for 20 minutes in that game, but they also played great from the 15-minute mark on, and I thought did enough until that final possession to win that thing. But it sucks. Yeah, it's a hard one to lose.
Do you agree with me that in my opinion, though, they lost the game in the first 10 minutes. They should have been up by 12 to 15 when they were up by 5.
Yes, I totally agree.
And then it changed everything because BYU, went on their run, but Iowa State had to do all the catching up and pressing and extending that energy. And it should have been BYU in that spot in the first 10 minutes of the game.
Yep.
That was, in my opinion, the catalyst that set the tone for the entire evening.
Yep. I agree. Yep. And that's where TJ's come from. You can't have that again. If you're gonna play that well and turn them over, you got to capitalize. And if you don't, you give the other team an opportunity to get back in the game. And good teams like BYU will do that.
Tip of the hat to Keyshawn Gilbert, though. 8 steals. That was his best defensive game of the season.
And that is what he can bring. And even with you struggling offensively, and he is right now, his defense early in that game was great. It really was. He took Demon out of the game. It was cool. But, just need more offensively from him. And I think he'll get there. This is where I'm optimistic about Kansas City. Get him some reps. He played so well down there last year. Was the MVP of the Big 12 tournament, if you recall. And that really led him into... I
forgot about that. Good pull.
It led him into 2 really good games in the NCAA tournament. He's an emotional guy. He's a streaky guy. If he can feed a couple together here, and it starts with his defense, Iowa State could be better for this.
All right. Wiffles Hybrid's Big 12 segment. I don't have a lot here. It's pretty much set that Iowa State is going to be plant your independence, plant Wiffles. But hard to think about planting right now.
The snow's going to melt eventually.
You're right, and Kansas City is always a good... It does look like it's going to be 70 down there.
What?
It's going to be really nice.
Sign me up.
Aiden, can you pull up the week forecast for Kansas City, please?
I've never wanted to see a forecast more than at this moment for Kansas City, though.
It looks pretty nice. Damn it, I got to go down on Tuesday now, though.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. My plans got really hosed up.
Well, our buddy Brant has to fly in from Atlanta, and he had it all booked for the Thursday game, so he's going to have to figure that out.
And it's not even just
more partying, baby.
We will still have our event, by the way.
Hope it damn well better be after a win.
Now we're going to do a celebration.
That would really suck.
Wednesday 3 to 5 at the Old Liney's. There's still tickets available. WeWillCollective.com.
And have you and your wife, I will send out links to that on all of our social media feeds too at Cyclone Fanatic. We will do that today. That'll be actually really epic after a win.
It will be. It's actually it's going to work out great because we're
It might work out better because people will be excited and they'll donate more.
Well, and it's a Wednesday 11:30. They got all Wednesday afternoon to party, baby.
Party, 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 party. Can kids go to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the Williams girls are going to come down.
I think so. They kids were there. My kids were there last year.
Yeah.
So.
I know. Well, your kids are everywhere.
I don't have babysitters. They have to family business, baby.
It is. It's the old Bloom family business. The bag
fam.
Oh my God! There's your Christmas present next year. Print and T-shirts, baby. Okay, so women's tournament starts today.
Yeah.
The Iowa State women play on Friday. We do have, so if you're heading down there, or even if you're not, Connor Ferguson and Rob Gray recorded our Big 12 women's tournament preview show yesterday. It is up on the feed. You can watch it on YouTube. Aiden produced it, as always. I listened to it on my way to Hilton last night. Good stuff on the women's program that's playing really well right now. I think they're in the tournament. But I also think, Brent, that they could win the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah, it's a hard path.
It is, but yes. Like, there's none of these teams where I'm like, I've watched the Iowa State women for 20 years, and there's so many times where it's like they can't beat Baylor.
Right.
Like, they can get there,
not one
but
of those
they're not.
Teams.
They can't beat Texas. They can beat any of these teams.
Actually, remarkable story for the TCU women's basketball program to go from where it was to winning the.
They're spending money, and he's a good coach.
Yeah, right, there you go. There's the combo.
Yeah, I mean, you 100%. Look at their roster; they are spending money in that women's program.
Oh, absolutely, they loaded up, and it has worked. So
I mean, they had the Cavender girl, who was at Miami, the good twin.
The good twin, yeah.
She was gonna play for them, and then her sister came back, so they would have been like a legit national title contender had she been there, and they had all of those like NIL stars.
I like how you're up to speed on the Cavender twins.
Well, I follow Big 12 women's basketball. That was a huge story.
It was a huge story
because she's like isn't she one of the best point guards in the country?
She is
like
really. I mean, she
top
is good.
10 probably.
Yeah,
So you would have had her
and Van Lith. And Prince. I know
they would have been. I mean, but still, they're the best team in the league.
Really good story for them. But yeah, so Iowa State was as the 7th seed. Again, we'll figure out who they play based on the game tonight, and then if you win that, then you'd play Baylor as the 2. And Iowa State just got beat by Baylor, but I don't. This is not Baylor of the Kim Mulkey era in any capacity.
Not at all. And even TCU, it's like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, they're not. They're not South Carolina and
sure they'll be favored over Iowa State, but that is not a. If you have Audie Crooks and Addie Brown, like.
Yep, and Emily Ryan playing at a good level right now.
Yeah, and Emily's at a totally different level than she was earlier in the season.
Yep.
I don't know. I wish this was next week. I'm not going to get on this because me complaining about it, but they're not going to have nearly as many fans as they would a week from now.
And even with the weather right now, that doesn't not helping matters either to get down there.
No, it's almost impossible today.
And it's by the way, Kansas City's not a whole lot better down there right now. Like, what a time to have the Big 12 women's tournament.
I'm a little worried. Tomorrow will be okay. God, I was just thinking about what if my wife can't get back?
You're stuck with.
I'm up against it here. Just got these kids home today. I'm just kidding. No, but go and listen to Rob and Connor's.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch.
That.
That's gonna be a fun tournament because I think unlike some eras where it was just Baylor or that was it. I think there's 7 teams that can win that thing on the women's side. Like, I am going to be entertained by that. And I'm going to try and make it down there Friday. We don't have anything planned because people ask event-wise yet. But if Iowa State were to make it to Saturday, we might try and spin something up pretty quickly, just FYI.
Well, let me know. My wife works all weekend. We may have a daddy-daughters trip.
There we go.
Down to Kansas City on Saturday.
We could maybe even do like maybe just do an impromptu thing too, right?
Yeah.
We could find a location. We'll keep everybody posted. I do wish those were more overlapping, though. I understand why they do it this way. It is really hard for everybody to just dedicate 2 weeks in a row of this.
The unfortunate reality, too, is that when you make people pick, 99% of people, not maybe 95, will pick the men's tournament.
Yeah.
And that's always been Finley's point when talking about this. It's why I love listening to Bill. I know there are some people who want him to be more about the pushing the women's thing, and that's great, and I respect that. But Bill comes at it from more of a realist.
He's a pragmatic individual. Yeah,
he wants more of the fans in the seats, right? And I mean, I've talked to a lot of women's players who, and granted, they're all Iowa State players, so they understand the flex that Hilton South brings. But they would rather play in front of a big crowd than in the big arena with a small crowd.
Yeah.
And if you've been to those games, the municipal is a dump. I mean, it's
a bad
old, like the locker rooms are horrible, all that. But God, it's a fun little arena.
Yeah.
When you get it full in there, like the bands and like it's fun. And then you go to T-Mobile and it's this giant NBA type arena with hardly anyone there, and it's just not a great atmosphere.
They do a nice job with the arena. It feels fun. Like that. I went last year to the semi and the final.
Yeah, I did too.
It was good. I mean, but it's just you will miss the casual fan in those games and the casual crossover fan, and so it's not changing. So we can yell at the cloud about it.
Yeah,
but
I'm not fighting that fight anymore.
I understand why it's hard for fans to do this, because then, by the way, you're turning around and going to an NCAA tournament game as well the next week. Like, you don't
hotels
have three weeks.
Downtown Kansas City are $300 a night.
Expensive, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I looked yesterday. See, that was like $450 a night. Because you got more teams. I mean, here's the other the one negative about more teams in the Big 12 relative to 2 years ago.
No, I know.
You have six teams and fan bases that you're trying to accommodate.
Yeah, and all the support staff and all that.
It's harder. It's harder. It's more expensive now too, and it's going to be more crowded potentially in Power and Light, which could mean more. Again, it's an expensive trip. Like I get it, and that's why I wish there was more of a crossover to give people more entertainment options of going to a women's game if they want to. But alas.
Well,
we haven't even talked about Tang, but we don't need
I don't care. I'm so not even into that game right now.
I'm tanged out.
Honestly, if they would have won last night, you could have convinced me to load manage.
Rest up. It wouldn't have changed anything
I said that to Ben Hutchins, our guy.
Yeah.
Right. If you win that game last night, you could have convinced me to sit. I don't think I would have sat anybody altogether, but I would have maybe put them on a pitch count. Just because I think they all need reps together. I think it'd be a mistake to just be like, I'm not going to play Keyshawn or whoever. However, I don't know if he had any business playing 40 minutes in that game if you win last night.
Fair. No, I agree. And now you probably need it, though, to stay on that 3 line.
I think all of a sudden it's kind of an important game.
It is an important game. I know we don't like to think about worst case scenario here, but yeah, we do. A win would pretty much lock in a 3 seed for the NCAA tournament. And, as you start to remove the goalposts, I don't like moving the goalposts, but a 3 line is so much better than the 4 line, guys. It just is. And might as well try and put yourself in the best position possible and hope the train gets back on the tracks.
Well, it was a pleasure talking to you today.
It's still blizzarding outside.
Yeah, I think
this is what we need. Look at the forecast in Kansas City, everybody. Oh,
told
baby.
you. 70s.
70s.
75 on Tuesday.
70. Oh, Let's all get there Tuesday. Let's have a party Tuesday night.
I got to go Tuesday.
I'm going Tuesday. I'll be there Tuesday night. Where are we going to go, everybody? Tuesday night. Who wants a beer?
Well, the place I used to go sucks now. The old Green Lady Lounge.
Yeah, got to find new spots.
It's freaking loud in there, and there's so many people now. It used to be like 10 people in that place when I would go.
I actually went to a place kind of off the beaten path last year that I'm going to have to hit that up. I don't want to give it away yet.
The Peanut?
The Peanut. Yeah, did you go to the Peanut with me?
Or the Cashew. It's the name of a nut.
No, it was no. I'm going to give them love because they were great and they've followed me on Twitter ever since. Taps on Main.
Oh, okay.
It's a really neat concept for a bar. Not a great party spot, but
no, I don't want the party spot.
But good food and a variety of craft beers. It's like the perfect 40-year-old man bar.
Yeah. What's the Taylor's? I'm in my boring era.
I'm in my.
I ain't going to your Power and Light.
I'm in my keep it down out there era.
Shut your mouth. Hey, I got kids here. Watch your language.
Yeah. I honestly, C-Dub, it's my favorite week of the year coming up. I just love all the people we get to see down there. It just makes me happy. Even in the bad years, it was like I just loved it. I mean, there were times we were like, well, we're going to enjoy the 2 nights before the tournament starts because I know we're going to lose. So let's enjoy Kansas City.
We turned it into and I think you guys have done this too. It's just an annual family vacation now.
Yep.
Like my wife and kids will come on Wednesday and my in-laws, and we'll stay there until Sunday.
I'm right there with you.
Although if Iowa State would lose early, I'd probably make a push to get back Saturday. Kind of a busy day on that Sunday.
Kind of a busy day on Sunday. Yeah.
Smidge of a busy day. Do you think Iowa State can still go to Milwaukee now?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. Yep. Yeah. That's still on the table. Again, this is where winning Saturday is key for that reason, too.
Yeah,
I think Milwaukee's definitely... and again, because Iowa State and Wisconsin can both be there. But if you keep losing, then Purdue enters the picture. Mm-hmm. And we don't want Purdue entering the picture. And they already might be in the picture, honestly. So you might be battling then. Yeah, Purdue might be there, and so then you're looking at Denver, quite candidly, most likely.
Downtown Denver.
I like Denver.
I like Denver, too. I just, there's a lot of marijuana and homeless people.
Yeah, that's...
Downtown, at least. Downtown. Everywhere else is great. That downtown.
Not there's anything wrong with that.
No, I don't care. Like, they do whatever they want. Like, it just...
You're right. It's like a Vegas, like a mini Vegas, some capacity.
All right. Well, now that I pissed everybody off, let's go. I got to go take care of my kids.
Same.
Appreciate you all listening. Give us a good review, will you?
Cheers, guys.
Like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Appreciate Mechdyne sponsoring us here. The Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.